Alright, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 156. So, once again, for the standard intro, we're counting down the days until the next N13 merits hearing, which is just over a week away. The latest release of the terminal block mining game was released September 10th. The last video released was the extended commentary on the accounting. And for the next video, I'm going to be doing one on legal commentary. So I was almost going to do a bit of recording today on that, but I ended up just kind of writing a bit more on the brainstorming for what I can say and stuff. So maybe I'll be able to start recording tomorrow. As for the store, I've had a couple sales so far. I'm just kind of testing the waters on that before I list a ton of stuff. Yeah, I guess of course it's every time I'm about to ship something, Canada Post. So I have 2 orders that I haven't even looked at yet for the regex stickers. So if you've purchased those, I'll get around to that soon. Having said that, I have no idea what's going to happen once I go to the post office. I don't even know if the post office will be open because they're all on strike. But I guess maybe I can just drop it off and it'll take however long it takes. Canada Post is on strike for this is like the third. This is at least the third strike in like four or 5 years. I don't even like sell many products, but strikes have already impacted my basically non-existent business almost every time I go to ship something. I also listed another block type on there if you guys want to grab that quick. If you want to have a dedicate, I think it's what was it? Goethite or something. It's another iron ore. For the rest of the stream, we're going to continue with working on the block mining game. And the overall goal, just get to release 0.0.9 with crafting recipes. And the major part of development on this is a general purpose scrollable list, which is kind of generic that I can use this for various user interface features. Edmund EDIT says hello. How's it going? We'll pick up from where we were yesterday. Use Python to program. Excellent. That's a good language to start out with. A lot of people start out with either Python or C. James Goodrich, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a bit. Sends $5. Thank you very much. Is it inventory time? That looks like an inventory feature. This is actually going to be crafting. What I'm working on now is like a generic list. It's basically like most of the development is going to go into a generic user interface feature for a kind of like responsive layout list that's generic. So I can once it's done, the idea will be I just implement like the list renderer class for arbitrary things. So there's going to be a render. This will be like a list of recipes, and then when I go to this, I can like use the up and down arrow keys to cycle through them, and that'll allow me to implement the crafted feature. And then eventually, I want to actually go back and fix, because the existing inventory selection is this is not good. You can't even see what those items are. So that the idea will be, if there's like 5,000 items here, and then I'll probably even have like a scroll bar or something. So what is the plan for raising these funds? World domination is very expensive. So if you're not in on the full world domination plans, I have a link in the description, and it's called to a video called my plans for world domination. So that has all the details. I may or may not have awoken in Dune. I'm not sure what that means. Is that a video game? Definitely gonna watch this develop. It sounds cool. I was thinking of trying my hand at progress, part of my terminal program. But I've been otherwise busy gaming. Dune Awakening. Oh, okay. Yeah, I try to avoid playing video games. I'll get addicted, and then I won't spend as much time developing stuff. All right, so there's a bunch of UI stuff to implement. Can confirm gaming can be addictive. Yeah, I find as long as I don't get addicted to something else, I'll get addicted to working, and then I'll be able to look back and admire what I've produced. So I think maybe so we got to think about some rules. Well, maybe first I'll implement the selectability. Right, we're now showing selection. Hi Robert, do you like playing board games? Like chess, Scrabble, and Go? When I was a kid, I used to play Monopoly quite a bit. I really liked that game. I guess I kind of grew out of it. I was pretty interested in them as a kid, but then I just didn't get a lot of opportunities to play them. So chess, I tried to learn chess for a while, and then I thought, I probably could get into this, but to make it fun, I'd have to become a little bit good, and the amount of time that you'd have to invest in learning to play chess. There's lots of things I've wanted to do in life, but at some point I've just had to kind of admit I can't pursue everything I'd like to pursue. I gotta pick a few things, become good at those. Raphael says, what do you actually do in these lives? Which lives? In like anybody's life, or in the game, or? Oh, lives and live streams. How close are you to world domination? I'm pretty close. I'm getting a little bit closer every day. In terms of what I do, I've been working on this terminal-based video game, and I usually start off the stream with like my daily update of my incremental progress during the day. If you would start over, would you try another industry? I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, maybe something in the physical world, like, I don't know, building houses or construction or something like that. Because if you just look at the economy overall and like what does the economy need more of, like the absolute most pressing thing we need now is housing. Like, we don't need more apps, we need more houses. And every year that just gets worse and worse and worse. And like, I was watching a talk or a video today about like some guy doing real estate updates, and he was saying like for the month of or like the last month, the real estate report was like something like 100 and something houses, pre-construction houses were built in the that was like freestanding houses, newly constructed houses were built in the GTA in that month of like a metro region of I don't know how many millions of people we are now here in Toronto. So housing starts are basically going to zero, and we have like more. Every year the housing deficit just gets bigger and bigger, and it's like, I mean, it's so ridiculous, it's almost funny. Dolt it down. Do you want to talk about something real, my guy? Have you ever heard of the company Taboola? I've not ever heard of that. Marketing stuff? That's what the company does? I think they're the reason we have mostly ad-based tracking. I assume there's a whole industry pushing behind that. Tracking is fundamentally just makes it more profitable. It makes everything more profitable. So if it wasn't them, it'd be, I think it's probably like 10 companies that do that. Never sub so fast. Excellent. Taboola is about marketing. And marketing means ads. Then targeted ads. Targeted ads were the first invention ever made. The problem is it's very profitable. And the thing is, I think, honestly, for as smart as most technical people are, I think there's a lot of like there's some profound there's like profound mathematical things you can say about like how much ad targeting improves the viability of an entire business model. So it's not like the naive thing would be to say that using like ad targeting stuff makes things like leveraging data makes it like slightly more effective. But what it can do is you can shift an entire business model from being viable to not viable. So if the amount of money you make from a customer is less than the customer acquisition cost, the whole business model doesn't work. But by using targeting, it's not like it makes you 10% more money. It makes you infinitely more money, because your growth rate and your like the speed with which you will converge to profitability or profitability at all. Like in some cases with an entire business model might not be viable at all without good targeting. But then when you add the targeting, now it can't exist at all, period. Facebook Meta is overkill, but there's no. That's another topic. Yeah, it's the thing is, like, even if we like totally shut down Facebook or something, like ad targeting in like some form of like audience, like attribution tracking and stuff, like you need the difference between having things like having conversion tracking in your ad campaigns, the difference between having that and not having it is the difference between a closed loop and an open loop feedback system. So it's like if you wanted to launch a rocket to Mars with dead reckoning, like of just, you program, fire the rocket for 10 seconds, then do this, and like, so there's no ability for feedback and like dynamic sensing, versus a fully dynamic system that can like, you can adjust its course on the fly. And it's the same thing where with if you don't, the tracking, specifically the conversion tracking, if you don't have the ability to know which subset of your audience is actually buying the product, then your ads will always just be like, and then the result is like people get even more annoyed with ads, because they'll see ads for like stuff that doesn't apply to them because the ad targeting is so bad. So I'm going to have to find a way to pass these, the frame and the bottom layer. Can't fathom anything else about this. Do you think you could switch to another topic or stop? Oh, about ad tracking? Well, it's just it's a fundamental aspect of marketing. Laura says, "Hey Robert, are we dominating today?" Yep, that's what we do every day. Atticus says, "Morning, bro." I guess it must be morning where you are. It's currently 10:13 here. Turns out a drive I mentioned yesterday was fast enough, so I just migrated to it. That's good. Hardware is, in a lot of cases, hardware is getting fast enough. "30 minutes of ZFS send receive. Fixing UUIDs. Yeah, the existence of that send receive, it's a nice feature to have. I haven't actually used it personally yet. Logan Huang says, what text editor is that? This is Java. Or, sorry, this is Vim. Yep, writing Java and Vim. Right, that might let me select items. Dolan Merville says, good evening. Or evening, Robert. How's it going? Tonight we're working on the ability... Oh, there we go. It's working. Nice. The ability to change the selection of list items. Tuning search engine indices. Is that for like a website that you own, or is that for like you're building a search engine? Petition validation engine for voter search. How interesting. you went semi-viral on Twitter the other day. Yeah, someone tagged me and I saw there was that. I think a screenshot of my how to become a 37-year-old broke loser video. I did notice the last few days there was a bit more traffic on that video, but it was actually pretty small compared to. I think it brought in maybe like 30,000 views or something on the video of the 1.2 million. When it first went viral, that was really crazy. There was, I think, a brief period where it was getting like 100,000 views an hour. Anyways, how goes it? Today, making a bit of progress every day. Worked on the script for the next video. Slowly but surely making progress on the block mining game. Do you feel you monetized the video well? It makes money off ads. I think it's a decent, introduction to. I invited people to subscribe in the 99-cent tier. I did get some new channel members that way. Honestly, I find in case if I ask people to like subscribe or to become a channel member or something, it seems like asking people to do things doesn't, in my experience, actually. It's almost like a waste of breath, and that effort is far surpassed by just make a video that really pops off, and then it's like an automatic thing. If the video does well, it just gets a bunch of views. Like if people like the video, they join based on that, as opposed to my requesting that they do. Now I've got to think about how to dynamically size these things. So many cases to consider. So I guess that probably makes sense. For the smallest dimension to be a fixed number of items. Because what I want to do is I want to make it generic so I can actually like loop around. So I can have like a column here and then a column here. I think word TikTok is censored. Oh, here on YouTube? Could be. There's all kinds of stuff that's censored. Honestly, I'm really doing streaming and like watching the kind of things that people complain about being censored for has made me a lot more paranoid about government censorship. Because it seems like they don't care about swearing and stuff, but certain very specific topics. Anthony McCann says, "Please don't dominate me." It's all right. I'll be a nice dictator. I guess that is still going to have a problem with going off the edge. As long as you're loving, I don't know. That's me going a bit too far. I'll just say I'll be a nice dictator. Lead, lead with love, and love will lead you or something? I don't know. I think the saying is, it's better to be feared than to be loved. That's the saying that I remember. That's not right. Why doesn't that draw the border correctly? Well, yeah, of course, it has to be at the end. It's still broken. Oh yeah, that's because we go. Arrest. It says your chat filters won't let me see what I want to say. I actually don't. I don't have any filters other than the default. So I don't really want to bother like setting up moderators and stuff like that. So I just have made the choice to set it on the default, like the top chat, which it says up here. So whatever filtering is occurring. Want to pontificate about CBT. What's CBT? There's a lot of topics. There's surprising topics that YouTube doesn't like people talking about. Things about like AI or the Federal Reserve or various topics. But swearing, that seems to be okay. Sorry, CNBT might help out. I don't know what that means. That's weird. I guess that is one column. Yeah, I can't tell what that thing is. It's like a big red. Too small to see. It's like it kind of looks like a beaver or something. A smiling beaver. Is Uber modern day slavery? I'm not sure. I don't know how. I'm not sure what it's like to drive for Uber these days. I know historically it's been bad, and I've heard a lot of heard a lot of things about like all kinds of tricks and gimmicks and stuff that they do to pay people this money. Can I ban you? Why would I ban you? That's an odd request. You're not going to elaborate on that request? Or maybe you're answering and it's not getting through. I take part in ordering Uber Eats. Or you're questioning the ethics of ordering Uber Eats. I mean, thinking of it from their perspective, there's a lot of, you can watch videos. Apparently, like a common thing now is there's people doing a whole like Uber Eats YouTuber type thing, where they just make videos about delivering Uber Eats and talk about their earnings. And I think most of them would probably be happy to get more business. Maybe we shouldn't feel too bad because they eat my order sometimes. Is that a thing that actually happens, Theo? I've seen some viral clips of people supposedly claiming they delivered food and then they just steal it on surveillance camera. I'm not sure how common that is. Tea. All right, now the next thing I should do is figure out how to keep track of the orientation. It's not what I expected. Why is that wrong? So that should be at a fixed offset, but they're all getting put at different offsets, which is not right. Well, maybe that is right. There's columns and columns and rows are kind of deceiving in the terminal. Goldrock AI says, first time viewer. Love to see people coding and vibe coding. Yeah, I'm doing some coding. I'm not quote unquote vibe coding, but I'm coding with the right vibes. That's why I got the purple light on. There we go. I guess that was the difference. You're doing it the right way without AI. I want to ask, do you think vibe coding as a term was meant to protect software engineering jobs by ridiculing AI? Was the AI way that different? For AI art generation, I've actually used AI art generation quite a bit. In fact, I used it today. In terms of AI code generation, I haven't really used that much. It's on my to-do list to actually sit down and like do a maybe thorough analysis video on it. I've used it on a few occasions for a lot of stuff that stuff with like a I guess how would I describe it? Stuff with like a lot of entropy code that has like high entropy code, where the code has to be code that has a high cyclomatic complexity, where everything has to be exactly correct or it fails completely. That's kind of like the worst case scenario for large language model code. The kind of best model, like there's some companies saying like that 60% of their code is now written by AI, but they say that implying that as if like, oh, we can reduce our headcount by 60% or something. 60% of the developers are redundant, but in a lot of cases I find the 60% of code that it's replacing is the easiest 60%, and it's the amount that like if you work at a company that does web dev and someone says like, hey, I want you to make a new page for the website, the first thing you would probably do is just copy and paste the template, and then you'd copy and paste something similar you have in your setup, and then you'd like tweak a couple things. You just take something that exists, copy paste it, and tweak it till it does exactly what you want. And for those cases when it's like it's just copying and pasting like an HTML template or something, especially when it doesn't need to be precise. Like you can make an HTML document with mismatched tags and all kinds of stuff, and you'll still get a page. Like if you ask in a large language model, make me a page or an application that says like it wishes you happy birthday. It's got some nice decorations on it. A large language model can do that very well. But if you say write like an optimized algorithm to copy memory from one location to another in a way that like obeys some kind of cache, obeys some complicated boundary condition, it's really bad at that stuff. 90% I would say is written by AI. Oftentimes it's made by non-devs. Should also be said that 90% of internal tools have been failures in the S&P 500 for a decade. I'm a software engineer, but I think AI is the way to go to compete with people way smarter than me. I've tried it, and my opinion on it is it's bad enough that I don't want to use it, and I'd like to forget about it. But it's clearly good enough that I can't like sleep on it. So I do think that it's good for like the kind of copy and paste stuff getting started. But I find that when you have more complicated problems, what people always say is like, if I say it doesn't quite get there, they're like, you have to like prime it and prompt it. You have to write better prompts. But I find the process of writing the better prompt involves basically telling it how to solve the problem. And for a lot of code things, like everything I'm doing right now, I know exactly how to solve the problem. And it's faster just to write the code rather than like write a prompt that describes how to write the code. Give an example of more complicated issues AI doesn't solve, even with multiple prompts. This is one I pressed it for quite a while ago, but I would imagine it still struggles with it. That was for I asked it some stuff about the Myers-Diff algorithm, and it was getting confused about like some things in like the edit script. It was confusing. There was like one concept that was referred to by I think it was the concept of a snake in the Myers-Diff algorithm, and it was at one time it was like explaining it, and it would kind of forget and think it was actually two separate concepts when it was one. And then I would say like, actually these are the same thing. It's like, you're right, it is the same thing. And then it would keep going on, and it would even though it would say I was right, it would then go on to like regurgitate something that again contained the exact same error. I also asked that I did a bunch of work to optimize some stuff in here, and I asked it to find like list 5 optimizations that I could do in this code, and it gave a few examples back. Let's see if I can find the I asked it to find some optimizations. Okay, I think it was in here. Yeah, I asked it for like extremely simple atomic operations that I could do to simplify this. And like for I think this part of the code, it highlighted this. and it would say like change this part of the code to like something else, and then the part that it would say, it'd be like change this, but this part was not even in the code. Or it would say like change this thing to this other thing, and it obviously didn't work at all. So like the hallucination stuff is still a problem, like where it can't, where you can ask it, like you could say like tell me a thing that is in the code right now and describe how I could change that. And if it's not even possible, if it's not even capable of regurgitating, if it's not even capable of copy and pasting, that's a major issue. Love the answers. Thank you for your time. I just subbed. Last questions. What are your thoughts on future of local LLM, open source LLM? Will the demand for that explode in popularity or be crushed? I think local LLM is like, in my opinion, for businesses, local LLM, like wanting to not have to connect some third-party service, that's going to be like an absolute must for companies, I think. Yeah, I think probably the open source I think is going to be big. Everyone's going to want to run it locally. I do think it is still like it's so good in some cases that where I've been thinking about it is it's almost like it almost opens up the new possibility for like a new set of operations you can do when programming. Like writing code is one task. Debugging code is a different task. You know, stuff like running a linter, that's like a totally separate operation. Like running linters is different than writing code, which is different than stepping through any debugger. And I think there's going to be a set of operations for which LLMs really have their they really shine. But I guess I can't. I haven't messed around with them enough to really articulate how. Right now I'm running the prompt and a basic E2E test framework test. There should be just one test that connects to web search and it gets the user info. But you know how it goes. IDK man, I have to iterate several times and get more specific in prompts to tell it where it doesn't understand context. It's better than any college grad I could hire. Well, that's the problem with when you, like, even when you're doing simple tasks, when you have to like reprompt it and correct it and stuff. In my experience, it's just been like I have to reprompt it so many times that it's just not I think you mentioned it's better than any college grad I could hire. I would say for like actually my opinion is like I think it's earth-shattering for someone who doesn't program. For like I'm thinking of like the number of grandmas and like 8-year-old kids who can write programs now. Because if you have all day to sit around and write prompts for this stuff, you could, even if you're a kid, I think that may actually be where some of the earth-shattering changes happen. Hiring new guys for 150K. I have 400 Indians who want to work for me for free. I think they're great at describing large data sets, but colleges poorly prepare them for the realm of AI tools. Can't justify hiring any new grad. Personally big on local LLMs. Yeah, I mean, if it works for you, if you can make a bunch of money on it. I do think there's a certain subset of code where you probably could like completely replace your devs. Although I think a lot of those cases are probably things where technically you could, if the code couldn't be totally replaced by an LLM today, it was probably also replaceable like 5 years ago, but there's a lot of lots of optimization that just hasn't been done. I respectfully believe that the ego is the biggest gap in any market AI has. Art being taken over by AI, software engineering, medical. It is, I mean, in medical, like one huge issue in medical is like, it's basically impossible to get a doctor. Like it takes, years. You get put on like a 10-year waiting list to see a doctor. So in that case, like anything is better than just not getting service. All right, the list, the responsive list actually seems to be working pretty well. All right, I think I'll probably stop there for tonight. It's already 11:50. Made a little bit of progress tonight. Next tomorrow we'll resume making the list a bit more flexible, so it can even work with right now it's got a like one adjacent list, but I'll probably make it so you can have like for this will be like the recipe list, and then the inventory, I think I'll let it, you can have maybe stuff beside each other. Let's see, what does that look like when I do this? building a local LLM doctor, machine learning on hardware I'm building, so that every home can have instantly accessible, 24/7 usable doctor in a box. That's why I think local is so important. It'll definitely be important for companies who don't want all their data stolen and leaked. What you're working on is super, super dope. Just joined 5-10 minutes ago. But keep up the good work. My rando take is that you can enhance your powers 10x with AI. Yeah, I think long term, I do think AI could improve this game for the things like texture creation, and there are like the AI works best in cases where if the answer is slightly off, if that doesn't matter, like for example, if you say like make a page that like a welcome page or something, or like it works especially well in art, because if the art is like 90% good, it's probably like it's 90% the way there. It's just not like perspective issues in the background, it doesn't really matter. But then if you have like for example, like a super optimized memory copy function, if it's slightly wrong, it's not useful. But yeah, I'll leave it there for tonight, and then we will resume work tomorrow night for day 157. All right, have a good night, guys.